What's up guys? Welcome to Tennessee Mountain Homestead. Today I'm going to be doing some maintenance on a tractor that's been out of the limelight for a while, and that is my 1983 John Deere 214. The 214 is the very first purpose-built mud mower we've ever done on the channel. It's got a Predator 670 with governor delete and a slide carburetor. It's got a locked up Peerless 2300. It's got a custom bumper, winch, LED lights, 50 amp alternator, big tires. This thing is pretty cool. And it's also got a one-off custom clutch single belt system, and we got rid of the old variator. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today, is replacing the belt. We've got the tractor jacked up straight in the air so that you all can get a good look at the clutch system, and it's also a lot easier to service the belt like this. Before we start taking parts off, I'll give you guys a little tour of what's going on under here. So under this big plate right here, this is protecting my clutch axis rod, and that's a 3/4 inch rod that is mounted between two pillow block bearings on that whole contraption. And through this linkage right here, it's connected to my clutch pedal. So I'm gonna pull the pedal and you'll see the action here. That's my clutch pivot and my clutch pulley right here. It's got a belt brake built into it, so when I'm at full travel, it pinches the belt, and that causes the belt to come to a complete stop, and it's easier to shift and all that. This is my clutch linkage rod right here. Back by the transmission pulley, we've got an adjustable clutch idler. That has a mechanical screw where I can adjust the tension up and down on that pulley to either increase or decrease slack on the belt as it wears in. There's another idler right here, and this is the last idler of the system before the drive pulley on the engine. Down here, we've got our belt guide, and this protects the belt from debris, and it also catches it when it goes slack so that the belt doesn't grab on the drive pulley on the engine while the engine's still spinning. This keeps it from sagging down with gravity. Moving up to the top side of the tractor, we've got the upper belt guide, and this goes between the last idler, and it goes around the front side of the pulley, and that's to keep the belt from derailing off the front of the pulley, and also helps with a little bit of water spray when this thing gets wet. I'm going to pull off the wheel just to give me a little better access at the engine pulleys. Before I can get the engine belt off, I need to remove the alternator belt, and the alternator is right here up in the front. So I'm going to remove the alternator tensioning bracket, and that should let me release tension on the belt by rotating the alternator in. There we go. Just let that hang out right there. The upper belt guide is held on by 3 7/16 cap screws threaded right into the engine side cover. There's also one mounting bolt at the tail end of the upper belt guide. I'm removing that right now. Here's a look at those cap screws that were in the engine. But these are free, and now this upper belt guide should, I use that term loosely, might have to take that pulley off. I had to take a step back and loosen up this alternator pulley because it's been a couple years since I've done this, and I kind of forget how it goes together. Now we should be able to remove the upper belt guide. The next thing I'm taking off is my lower belt guide. There's a bracket back here and there's one up on the top. And I put one of the bolts conveniently right behind my brake lines. And that's my lower belt guide. With the lower belt guide out of the way, now you can see more clearly what's going on under here. So this is my adjustable idler pulley. And how this works, there's a set screw that clamps the whole mechanism tight. It's got a 5/8 axis or center bore on the pulley. And I've got a shaft collar. I need to loosen up that. So what I'm doing is unthreading. This is the adjustment right here. And you probably can't see it, but it's traveling upwards right now. See the upward movement of that pulley as I thread this. I actually made a very detailed video about how I made this mechanism. It's pretty simple. It just takes a little bit of elbow grease and a lot of welding. But we need to remove this pulley all the way in order to get the belt off of it. Now the belt's free from the transmission pulley. I have a keeper on the clutch pulley that we need to get off next. Instead of taking off the belt keeper on this clutch arm, we just took off what holds the pulley on, so now we can just slide it over, get the belt off that way. And now should Now that we've got the old belt off, I'm just going to go ahead and check the health of my pulleys. They seem to spin free, quiet. Transmission pulley doesn't have any real play in it. All that's left to do is put the new belt back on. And in case anyone's wondering, this is a 93-inch by half Megadyne V-belt. Just route it right back over. I'm going to start with the upper belt guide this time because it seems like it was easier without the lower belt guide being in there to put this back in. It's all put back together and ready to rip. Now, this is the belt that came out of it. It's been in there for a couple of years, and it's given me a lot of great service. But there's nothing visibly wrong with it. There's no chafing, there's no damage, there's no cuts. I think it just stretched out past its usable length for this belt system. What it was doing is if I tried to start off in third or fourth gear and go, it would slip on, I don't know what pulley was slipping, but it would start moving and the engine would rev way up and it would take a couple seconds for the tractor to catch up to the engine. So it was just way too loose, I guess, and slipping, but no damage. That's pretty remarkable. Another modification that's been done to this tractor since the build playlist ended, I replaced the 34mm Mikuni carburetor with a 32mm Nibby carburetor. Now, that's because I learned a lot with the Buck 50 build on oversized carburetors for the application. Now this goes back 3 years when I built this tractor initially, and I just thought a 34 is what it needed. But it turns out this is a stock engine and it really does not need a 34. I got it to run pretty good for a long time with this 34. It's jetted pretty lean. It did work out, but it was still always a touch too rich. It always just needed too much fuel for the air going in the engine. Now, I bought that Nibby and it ran this engine way different out of the box. It sounds smoother. It sounds more like a sewing machine than it does like a choppy, cammed out engine, which the 34 millimeter made it sound like. It doesn't blow any black smoke at any point in the RPM range. It idles smooth. It revs up nice. Out of the box, it ran it pretty good. It did not have great throttle response out of the box. So I think what I did is I increased the needle position 1 notch and I went up a few points on the main. And it runs pretty good now. So what we're gonna do is throw some gas in this thing, take it for a rip. I had to put a little bit of gas back in this thing because I drained it in order to stand it up high enough to change the belt. Alright, low speed, this thing's just fine. It's the same as it was before. It's just I was having a problem, like I said, taking off in 3rd or 4th gear, accelerating hard. It just took the belt a while to catch up, pulley to pulley. So, also, I don't know how fast this thing goes top speed. It's always been kind of a, I think it goes 25, maybe 26. We're gonna find out today. I got my GPS on me. Let's take it out to the street and do some acceleration tests, see if the belt is gripping, and also what this thing can really do. Alright, survey says I hit a top speed of 25.1 miles an hour. And that was around 52 to 5,300 RPMs. And I'll say it does feel like it gets to valve float. You can feel like the engine just doesn't want to pull any harder. You can kind of feel it hit a flat spot, so I think that's valve float, which is kind of dangerous on these things. I don't want to crash a valve into the piston. Anyhow, guys, let's take this thing across the creek for a minute. forgot how much fun this tractor really is. It's just scary because it's 800 pounds, and I guess that's scary, I don't know. $150 and the Sears are probably more fun. What do you guys think? Anyway, the belt definitely seemed to help. It actually pulled a little wheelie, pulled the wheels off the ground at least in second gear. I can shift this thing because of the belt brake. It's really actually really intensely easy. If I slam it all the way down like that, that belt is pinched. And I can go around the corner, hit third, fourth, zero grindage. It just works. It's a nice tight transmission. The transmission in this thing is not stock to this tractor. It came out of some other John Deere 200 series. But what I noticed about it when I took it apart and cleaned it and welded the differential is that this transmission was really tight, like it had super low mileage on it, or low hours, whatever, however you want to put it. And the transmission that was in this thing originally is now in blackout. So I think that's going to do it for today, guys. Stay tuned because the next thing, blackout, also needs a belt. We'll get into that belt system. I'll show you guys all about that. And guess what? The fucking anyway, as I was saying, next week blackout needs a belt because I think some of the cords in the belt are broken and the belt was derailing itself and there's no other reason why it was doing that, and then it flipped upside down. So that thing's going to get a new belt. Also, I'll show you guys the inner workings of blackout if you haven't seen the playlist where we built it. And it's also getting something special that I got for last Christmas from Ethan. We still need to install. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the video. The 214 is back in business. I'm Jason. You're watching Anyways, guys, the 214 is back in business. That's going to do it for the video. I'm Jason. You're watching Tennessee Mountain Homestead, and I'll see you on the next one.